every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday at 6 p.m.
Hello brother and sister in Christ. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you all. Brothers and sisters, today I come to speak to you of God's love, that pure, perfect, spotless love. A love revealed to us through the sacrifice of Jesus Christ on the cross. Scripture tells us in 1 John 4:8, "He who does not love has not known God, for God is love." God calls us to walk in the light, for where there is light, there can be no darkness. But for this, my beloved, we must be vigilant. Vigilant against temptation, against the snares of the enemy, and against our own carnal nature. Look around you. The world offers us fleeting pleasures, vain riches, and destructive lusts. But what does the Bible say in 1 Corinthians 10:13? No temptation has come to you that was not human. And God, who is faithful, will not allow you to be tempted beyond your strength. I say to you, brothers and sisters, don't let bitterness, despair or the desires of the heart dominate your spirit. Turn to God's love, for He alone can fill the void in your lives. Paul exhorts us in Ephesians 5:8-10. Once you were darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Walk as children of light. What does this mean? It means that our actions, thoughts and even desires must reflect God's holiness. If we say we love God, but our hearts are filled with hatred, jealousy, or pride, then we're lying.
This pastor preaches very well.
Without lying to you, my sister in Christ, it's because of him that I prefer to celebrate here. He's very inspired by the Spirit of God.
You're right. I think he is really good.
I hope you're listening carefully to what the pastor is saying. I have the feeling he's talking to you.
He is not talking to you? Have you seen our position? We are in front of the complex. Don't let people notice our gossip.
Let them notice us. Is it pink in their house? Just because we're responsible at church doesn't mean we can't express ourselves.
I'd also like to emphasize forgiveness. For God's love is also a forgiving love. Too often, we hold grudges against our brothers and sisters, even in the church. But true love is patient, full of kindness, and does not suspect evil. Brothers and sisters, today I invite you to examine your conscience. Are you in the light? Or have you allowed darkness to creep into parts of your life? I urge you to pray earnestly and ask God to purify your hearts. Remember, walking in the light is not an option, but a commandment. Let us be living witnesses to His love and holiness. I'll end with these words from John 8:12, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. So walk in this light, brothers and sisters, and allow God's love to transform your lives. May God bless you abundantly.
Beautiful, isn't it? These words touch the soul and seem to illuminate our lives. But as always in life, we must beware of appearances. Some truths can conceal mysteries.
Hi, honey. Are you still in bed?
Yes, my love.
But what's wrong?
Why are you so insensitive to my needs?
What need are you talking about, darling?
I've been telling you for almost a week that I want you, but you won't even consider me. I told you yesterday, but you didn't even touch my hair, and this morning you woke up very early to go to work without even doing anything to me.
Calm down, honey. I told you I'm very tired these days with work. My head's not in it.
Every time you tell me the same stories. As soon as you manage to do it just once, it's another 3 months, or even longer before you touch me again. It seems that it's only when you want to get me pregnant that you like to touch me.
Huh? Wait a minute. What are you even talking about? Is it food? What kind of greedy woman are you to cry over this every time? If you're spoiled yourself, don't come and put it on my head.
Why do you talk to me like that, Jacques? You call me a spoiled woman when all I am doing is claiming my right as a married woman.
Is that your right as a woman? Have you run out of food, clothing and a place to sleep?
So that's why I married you? I have the means to buy everything you just mentioned. Marriage goes beyond these needs.
Didn't I make you children?
And then what?
If you're possessed by the spirit of sexual greed, go and get yourself delivered. I won't be your target. I have more important things in my life than this trivia. Good day to you.
Oh, God. What have I done to deserve a man like this in my life? If someone had told me it would be like this at the beginning of this relationship, I would never have accepted it.
Good morning.
Who's that? Who's behind me?
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Go ahead. How can I help you? Please hurry, I don't have time.
I've come to find out more about the formalities for clearing my goods through customs.
And now you've come? Go and sit down somewhere over there.
Okay.
Next. Can't you hear the next one?
Hello, my daughter.
Who's your daughter? Speak quickly and leave before me.
Who do you think you are? Do you think you're a rabid bitch or what?
Who are you talking to?
Don't ever speak to me like that again. I'm your customer, not your equal. If your husband deprived you of sex at home, you wouldn't be taking your anger out on us, your customers. Nonsense.
Shh.
What's wrong, my colleague?
Everything's fine. Do I look like someone who doesn't fit?
Easy, Nadine. You're only going to talk to me like you did to all your customers this morning.
When did I talk them wrong?
My office is right next to yours. Don't forget it. I'm a woman and I know what's happening to you even if you don't want to talk about it. But believe me, talking down to the customer won't help your situation. On the contrary, it could cost you your job. Are you sure you and Mark are okay?
It's Mark. He's the one who makes me. He doesn't want to understand my emotions. He doesn't like to understand my intimate needs. All he cares about is his own pleasure. As soon as he finishes his 10 seconds, he falls sideways like a rabbit, and that's it. He starts snoring.
Have you tried talking to him? To make him understand that he's not fulfilling you the way a man should with his wife?
Mark doesn't want to understand anything, rejects any attempt to discuss the subject, and has an antiquated view of sexuality.
Calm down, sister. Mine's worse. At least he touches you, even if you're not satisfied. Mine is a castrated pig. It's as if they've erased the intimacy in his hard drive. It's been over 2 years since I gave birth. Our son is already weaned, but my husband doesn't give a damn about me. He doesn't even touch my hair.
And what's his excuse?
That he's disgusted that the child came out of there. Yet even before I got pregnant he wasn't regular. He's just lazy and doesn't want to make any effort. Yet I do everything to keep in shape, and not get fat and all. But he never answers.
For you is much worse. I wouldn't want to be you. So it's been over 3 years since he touched you?
Yes.
And how are you holding up? If it were me, I'd be about to blow a fuse for him and the whole town.
I manage differently, sister. I'm not going to grow old because of a man.
Don't tell me you're cheating.
Sister. It's my private secret. Don't tell anyone. Anyway, I have no choice.
But it's not right. Your husband may find out one day.
Who? Who? How will he know? I know what I'm doing. He'll never know.
Even if he doesn't find out, it doesn't honor you as a Christian woman.
So the Christian woman has no desires to satisfy? Are you trying to judge me?
Who am I to judge you? In any case. Vigilance.
Hello, Pastor.
Calm down, Sister O'Malley. Why are you crying? Don't let your worries weigh on your heart. You're here to find answers and peace. How can I help you?
Pastor, I don't know where to begin. It's so delicate.
Take your time. This office is a sanctuary. Anything you say stays between us.
It's Jack, my husband. He's a good man, a pious man, but there are things I miss in our relationship.
What things? Speak freely, O'Malley. Sometimes the problems in a marriage find their solution in a deeper understanding.
He doesn't really listen to me. He's always busy, and our moments of intimacy, They've become a soulless routine. I don't feel like a woman anymore.
I understand. Marriage is a blessing, but it can become a challenge when the emotional and physical needs of one partner are neglected. Have you tried talking to him about it?
But he thinks I'm very greedy, and even reproaches me for being too demanding.
You deserve to be heard, Amelie. A harmonious marriage is based on mutual understanding. But sometimes it also takes spiritual intervention to ease tensions.
Help me, Pastor.
The pastor gets up, goes to a shelf and returns with a notebook in which he is scribbling rapidly.
I'll be praying for you and your husband, Jack. But in the meantime, allow me to guide you in some introspection. Let me check something quickly. I need to find out what makes you an exceptional woman, independent of your husband's expectations.
Okay, Pastor. Do everything you can.
How you feel now?
I've got to get home.
Don't be ashamed, Sister Amelie. You have done nothing wrong. God has a plan for every marriage, but it begins with the intimate fulfillment of each individual. Don't hesitate to come back and see me so that we can continue our journey together.
Amelie returns home after her meeting with the pastor. The shame and embarrassment she felt at the end of her session with the pastor seemed to have dissipated. Now, her face radiates a strange, almost disconcerting serenity. Meanwhile, her husband Jack, sitting in the living room, immersed in his Bible, looks up at her arrival.
Welcome, my dear. You have had a long day at church. And I can see that you're very happy.
God's wonders in my life are enormous.
I see. What did you do in church?
Teachings, of course. Afterwards I had a few discussions with the secondary pastor.
What kind of discussion? I hope you haven't gone and exposed our couple's life there.
So we had a couple problem? I didn't know.
Are you sure you're okay?
Can't you tell? I'm fine. Well, I'll be in the bedroom. I'm tired. I'll go to bed.
Why do I feel like she's changed all of a sudden? My wife even comes home dancing, and in a good mood. Without asking me for a hug or anything? That's a bit odd coming from her.
As the days went by, Amelie became more and more distant. She no longer sought to engage Jack in intimate conversations, avoided deep discussions, and retired early every evening. This attitude deeply worried Jack.
Amelie, I can't ignore what's happening. You're different. You don't look at me the same way anymore, and I feel you're distancing yourself.
Jack, you're exaggerating. I'm doing my best to keep things nice between us.
No. There's something you're not telling me.
Maybe it's you who should be asking yourself if you're up to what I expect.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean?
Nothing. I'm going to bed.
You can see how doubt is creeping into this household. Jack is now faced with a situation he doesn't understand.
I've been talking to you since you didn't answer, Nadine. Are you sure you're okay?
Let me.
Are you expecting someone? If not, I'm not.
Maybe it's the pastor. I'll open the door.
Maybe it'll be Pastor Howe. Did we have a program with him?
Let me go open the door.
Answer me first. Did you do a program with the pastor behind me? Aren't I talking to you?
Hello, Brother Mark. Good morning, Sister Nadia. May the peace of the Lord be in this house.
Hello, Pastor. Welcome.
What are you doing here? I don't remember inviting you.
Brother Mark, I come in peace, with the intention of bringing a word of reconciliation and support.
Reconciliation of what? Did we tell you that we do wrestling here?
Nadia confided in me that your couple is going through a difficult period. I'm here to help. With your permission.
Helping? Since when do pastors meddle in couples' private lives? You'd be better off getting on with your sermons than sticking your nose into things that don't concern you.
Mark, what's wrong with you? Is this how you receive a man of God?
What a man of God? I just see someone who comes to sow discord among others.
Mark, furious, grabs his keys and storms out of the house.
I'm really sorry, Pastor.
I understand his anger, Sister Nadia. Some men find it hard to accept help, especially when their pride is hurt. But don't worry, with prayer and patience, God will transform his heart.
All right, then. Please have a seat.
Okay. You see, Sister Nadia, it's not your fault that your husband is so closed-minded. But God created you with needs, with emotions, and he wants you to be fulfilled. So let's talk frankly. How do you feel as a couple right now?
I'm lonely. Mark never listens to me. I feel like I'm invisible.
You're a wonderful woman, Nadia, and you deserve better. You deserve to be cared for, listened to and fulfilled, spiritually and emotionally.
What God has done for me I can't tell you. I feel very good about myself.
What makes her happy?
Happy arrival, darling.
What happened here? Has the pastor gone?
Yes. He's gone. He helped me understand a lot of things.
All the better.
Mark begins by sensing a subtle change in his wife Nadia. In the days that follow, this change becomes more obvious. Nadia no longer complains, seems distant, and acts as if she's fulfilled in a way Mark can't understand.
Didier, can you explain what's going on?
Explain you what?
Who's this woman with a child in her hand, and the conversation captured on film?
What are you even talking about?
Look in your WhatsApp, I've forwarded you the images.
What the? Where did you get this?
That's not the point, Didier. How long has this been going on? Another wife, a child and a mistress. How could you do this to me?
Mammy, listen. It's not what you think. It's just mistakes. You know? Men. Sometimes we do things we can't control.
Don't give me that ridiculous excuse. Any mistakes? A child is not a mistake. You betrayed me, Didier. And what do you expect? Stand there and take it in silence.
You're my lawful wife. You're the one I married. Why make a fuss about outside things that have nothing to do with our house?
Listen to what he tells me. You will justify yourself to the pastor.
Mammy?
Pastor, I can't stand this anymore. Didier betrayed me, and I don't see why I should tolerate his behavior.
Mammy, I understand your pain. But remember, God hates divorce. You are a virtuous woman, and your role is to maintain your home in spite of hardships.
Maintain my home? But what about Didier's commitments? He broke his vows. It's not fair that I should bear the burden of this situation alone.
Mammy, please understand that the Bible teaches us patience and forgiveness. It's true that Didier made mistakes. But Proverbs 14:1 says, "A wise woman builds her house, but a foolish woman tears it down with her own hands." As a wife, it's your responsibility to protect the unity of your home.
Thank you, Pastor. I knew you would understand. My wife acts as if I committed a serious crime. I am a man. I can slip up from time to time.
He's not even ashamed. Pastor, with all due respect, is this really God's love and justice? Why should I continue to put up with lies, betrayals and a double life? God is not asking me to become a victim in order to preserve a family image.
I understand your pain. But remember that a man can be tempted. Men are naturally weak in some areas, and that's where you, as the helper, need to step in. Don't forget that Sarah called Abraham my Lord, despite his shortcomings.
I am a woman, but do I have the right to complain, or to fail? If I had a double life, would you defend me with the same fervor? Or would I be thrown to the church and condemned by all?
Mammy, this isn't about favoritism. We must work to restore Didier and your marriage. You are a woman of faith. Let God work through you to put Didier back on the right path.
So, if I understand correctly, Your advice is to encourage infidelity and ask me to suffer in silence. Pastor, God is not unjust.
Mammy leaves the room in a huff. Didier stays behind, feeling vindicated by the pastor's words. Sometimes Bible verses can be misused to justify the unjustifiable. The church's role is to protect and restore, but in this case, society's preconceptions and tolerance of injustice take over. Mammy, though wounded, finds herself alone in this dilemma. What would she do next? Would she stay in the toxic marriage, or find a way out despite the pressure?
Thank you, brothers and sisters, for being with us today. We have some urgent matters to discuss regarding our church's finances. As you know, we have been raising funds for the renovation of the premises, but there are discrepancies in the accounts.
Discrepancies? But how is this possible? We had regular collections, and donations were plentiful.
This is precisely what worries me. According to our calculations, we're about $25,000 short. $25,000?
But how is it possible?
Dear Elder, I understand your concerns. But you know, managing a community as large as ours is no simple task. Perhaps there have been administrative errors.
We understand the challenges, but these discrepancies are not due to a simple error. I checked the accounts myself. Why don't we check the documents together? Maybe we'll find an explanation.
With all due respect, I find it regrettable that my management is being called into question. I am ready to provide all the necessary evidence at our next meeting.
Pastor, it's not a question of trust, but of transparency. If everything is in order, then these doubts will disappear.
Okay, as you wish. I'll show you the receipts.
Claire. I don't know why, but something just doesn't seem right. The young pastor's answers were too evasive, and don't reassure me at all.
I agree, Pastor. He lives in luxury far beyond his income. How does he justify this? I wonder what business he's in to get all this?
I don't think he would embezzle money from the church treasury, since he's a very exemplary pastor. Rather, I think he's being robbed by someone close to him.
And his lifestyle? Do you think this is normal for a pastor of his standing?
Her family has a bit of money. Don't forget that his father is in the government.
We need to go further. If we get permission to search his office, we might find some evidence.
It's a risky decision, but if it's to protect the community, I'm ready to take part.
Let me tell you, my friends. Truth is like water. It always finds a way to the surface. While the elders wondered, the young pastor continued to smile, convinced that he was untouchable. But the cracks in his mask were beginning to show.
Happy arrival, Sister Florence. How are you?
I'm okay. I give thanks.
How are things going with your husband? I hope he's changed a little.
Nothing's changed, sister.
Have you spoken to the church's young pastor?
Why should I?
He has a special gift when it comes to marital problems and healing women.
What a gift is that?
I had consulted him myself, and after my consultation with him, I felt relieved and fulfilled. He still helps me once a week.
Is that so? And his help consists in doing what do you?
He prays with me. Rest assured, I'm not the only woman he's helped. Many of us have benefited from his special gifts.
Okay, I pray good note.
Don't be lazy. It's time to go. He can help you.
I'll see.
Be relaxed, Sister Florence.
Okay, Pastor.
Sister Florence. You really are a woman of faith. Do you know that? Your presence lights up our community.
Thank you, Pastor. I'm flattered, but I'm here to seek peace and strengthen my faith in God, nothing more.
That's precisely why I want to help you. God has revealed to me that you carry a burden. He has asked me to guide you through prayers.
What kind of special prayers, Pastor?
Intimate, personal prayers just between you and me.
Intimate prayer? Between you and me? What kind of prayer is that?
The Lord works best in secret.
I prefer to pray in transparency. Pastor, unless you allow my husband to be present.
Why your husband?
It was the two of us who need the help. Not just me.
Florence, what I'm proposing is beyond your husband's comprehension. God has chosen me to bring you a deliverance he cannot offer.
And has God asked you to do the same with other women?
What are you talking about?
Why are you getting angry, Pastor? Or have I touched a nerve? Well, I think I'll go home.
Why are you doing this? Why? Please be patient. Allow me to examine you for a few minutes before you leave.
You are going to examine me, you say? Have you become a doctor? What are you trying to do to me? I forbid you to touch me. Is it the Holy Spirit asking you to touch a married woman? Now I understand your game. You're a false man of God.
Who is this woman? She has ruined all my approach techniques. In any case, she won't escape me.
As soon as Florence leaves the young pastor, she immediately rushes to the church elders to report the pastor's inappropriate behavior towards her. But they don't take her words seriously. Convinced of the pastor's holiness and integrity, they believe Florence exaggerates or misinterprets his intentions, rejecting his testimony without the slightest investigation.
Dear elder pastor, here's what your young pastor tried to do to me.
Don't exaggerate, Sister Florence. You yourself said that Pastor Balthazar is a great help to women in their relationships, didn't you?
I'm telling you that his intentions are not good and that he wanted to abuse me. I wonder what he could have done with all those women who are supposed to be helped by him.
Stop having gloomy ideas about a man of God.
Okay, I get it. Dear elder, I'm going to ask to go home.
Okay. Don't forget to confess about that false testimony you just gave. Have a nice evening.
Yet I have received testimonies from many women, appreciating Pastor Balthazar's help and gift. Why does this one come with a different version? It's even a little strange. Because this woman is a pious woman of faith. I'd be surprised if she chose to lie about the pastor's head.
Let's not give this woman's words any credence. I don't believe her.
Suspicions about Pastor Balthazar had begun to grow long before the recent events. Several church members had noted his unusually high lifestyle for a man of faith, fueling whispers of embezzlement. That's when Matthias, one of the elders, took the initiative of organizing a confidential meeting with other church leaders. Their objective? To audit the community's finances under the pretext of an administrative review. During this inspection, Ruth, the treasurer, discovered an external hard drive in a drawer marked private. Curious but hesitant, she asked the others to check its contents. And then the truth came out. Incriminating videos, carefully classified and dated, revealed the darker side of the man many considered a role model.
You have called me, dear elders. What can I do for you?
Pastor Balthazar, we conducted an audit of the church's finances. But what we discovered is beyond comprehension.
I just don't get it. Are you saying I mismanage the funds?
How dare you do this to my wife? You're nothing but a cursed man. Why did you film my wife committing adultery with you?
Calm down, dear elder.
Oh no. You went through my personal belongings. That's a violation of my privacy. I have nothing to hide.
Nothing to hide? You filmed your actions. Your manipulations, your abuses. With women from this church, sisters who placed their trust in you. My God. What an abomination. More than hundreds of sexually explicit videos on the computer of a pastor who's supposed to show the way to enlightenment?
Baseless accusations. How dare you besmirch my name with such slander? I am a man of God.
I'm so ashamed. We've had a ravening wolf in our midst all this time. I knew there was something wrong with Balthazar, and I'd mentioned it at first, but no one believed me. I wasn't convinced by God's Spirit regarding his ministry. How about these videos, Balthazar?
It's a manipulation. Someone is trying to frame me to discredit my ministry.
Manipulation? All these videos are you. Your face, your voice, your actions. Stop lying.
If you reveal anything, you know what it will do to the church. Think of the congregation. The reputation of this congregation. It's the devil trying to divide us.
Will you be quiet over there? He Mugu, my wife. The devil has nothing to do with your actions. It's your own sin that has brought you here. And it's time to take responsibility.
It's spoiled. This story doesn't smell good at all. Balthazar has had to take intimate advantage of several women, the majority of whom are the wives of his church. In the videos, we saw women who seemed to consent, but others who didn't. Even the wife of Pastor Balthazar, the church elder, was among Balthazar's victims. Also, the wife of a gentleman whose wedding Balthazar himself had celebrated the day before was in the recordings. The question is, how does Pastor Balthazar get his prey so easily? And even how he gets their consent, by filming them.
Happy arrival, darling.
I'm not your honey. Take your clicks and slam and get out of my house.
But what have I done?
Go and ask your Balthazar. He'll tell you what you've done.
Pastor Balthazar couldn't bear the news. He threw his wife out of the house. The man who used to advise women victims of infidelity to forgive their husbands is now unable to forgive his own wife. The rumors intensify, and as if by magic, Balthazar's compromising videos are exposed to the general public. The affair becomes a resounding scandal, plunging the church into an unprecedented crisis. This situation also reveals an even more shocking truth. Many men are shocked to discover their wives' infidelity, sending shockwaves throughout the community.
My God, it's not true.
I'm so sorry, Mark. I don't understand what happened to me. It's as if I lost all control, carried away by something stronger than myself. It was like I was under a spell.
Under a spell? Yet you were happy, and even moaned. Either way, it's over between us. I'm filing for divorce.
I didn't know when I'd let myself get involved. I wasn't aware of what he was doing to me. How did he manage to confuse me so much? Here I am, divorcing myself from my marriage. What did I do? Why did I do it? Why did I do it?
Have you heard about Balthazar?
Sister, that preacher's done it. I didn't know he was so dangerous.
In any case, he did those women a world of good, didn't he?
But this pastor deserves to be spanked and even imprisoned.
Did you also learn that Pastor Matthias and Pastor Timothy's wives are in the videos?
Really? No, I don't think so.
I'm not going to lie to you, sister. Pastor Matthias has even kicked his wife out of his house.
Why does he send his wife away from his home? Has he forgotten the notions of forgiveness and tolerance of infidelity that he himself preached?
After months of secrecy, scandal and hidden suffering, the truth is finally out. Balthazar's damning videos, exposing his true face, have led the authorities to act. This is not just a church or family affair, but a shock for the whole community.
Pastor Balthazar. Or should I say former pastor? You know why you're here, don't you?
Yes. But I think there's been a misunderstanding. It's all a manipulation. My enemies want to sully my reputation and destroy God's work.
Your reputation, eh? A reputation built on lies? You've been caught red-handed. So let's not play games. How many women have you manipulated?
Hundreds of them. I didn't do anything wrong. It was all consensual.
Consent? You've exploited vulnerable women, members of your own community. You have betrayed the trust of your faithful, and you dare to speak of consent? Do you know Catherine?
No. What Catherine?
The cleaning lady for your church and offices.
Yes.
She's my wife. And she is one of the victims of your actions. Do you know what that's like? Balthazar, to hear my own wife crying every night because of you? You destroyed my family, and believe me, I'm going to make sure you pay for every tear she shed. How do you get your prey, and film them without them refusing?
I don't do anything to them. They all consent.
I'm going to put you in electric shock right now if you don't tell me the truth.
I use hypnosis techniques to put them to sleep standing up, and I also have incantatory formulas that I recite to put them under my spell.
Jesus Christ. So after you sleep with them, you film them just for fun?
Yes. But there are other women who accept my advances naturally. She appreciates everything I do with her. It's when I find that a woman is opposed to me that I resort to my techniques and incantations.
You haven't answered all my questions. You film them, why? What do you do with the videos you record?
I sell them.
And so the story ends. Balthazar is tried in a high-profile trial where dozens of women stand up to testify against him. He is sentenced to a long prison term for breach of trust, manipulation and exploitation. Meanwhile, the church tries to cover up the affair by minimizing Balthazar's responsibility and claiming he was acting alone. However, the faithful are losing confidence, and the community is beginning to crumble. That's how the light always breaks through the darkness. Balthazar, who passed himself off as a spiritual guide, falls under the weight of his sins. Many of the women Balthazar manipulated had one thing in common: deep dissatisfaction in their marriages. This didn't come from a lack of faith or morality on their part, but from an emotional, intimate void left by their husbands. As leaders of their households, husbands have a biblical responsibility to love and satisfy their wives, as the Apostle Paul says. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church, and gave himself up for her. When husbands neglect their wives, whether emotionally or intimately, they unwittingly leave gaps in their marriages. These gaps, often synonymous with loneliness and dissatisfaction, drive some wives to seek solace or answers elsewhere. This exposes them to manipulative individuals like Balthazar, who exploit their emotional vulnerabilities for their own ends. And Balthazar are everywhere in today's world. They can hide behind familiar faces, a seemingly overcaring office colleague, a friend ready to listen, an acquaintance who seems empathetic, a helpful neighbor, a family member, or even a respected religious figure, such as a church brother or pastor. The danger lies in these people abusing the trust placed in their role or relationship, turning a quest for help into an opportunity for manipulation. This reminds us how important it is for every couple to nurture their relationship and build a solid marriage, where no Balthazar could infiltrate. As Proverbs 4:23 says, "Guard your heart more than anything else, for from it come the springs of life." However, this in no way justifies the women's actions or those of Balthazar. But it's crucial to remember that spouses must cultivate a home where love, listening and mutual satisfaction reign. Let the husband repay his wife what he owes her, and let the wife do the same to her husband. This text underlines the importance of meeting the needs of one's spouse to strengthen the marriage and avoid temptation. Society often has a double standard. It calls on women to forgive male infidelity, sometimes invoking cultural or spiritual values. But when it's a woman who fails, judgment is swift and harsh. Yet God's word teaches equality before sin and grace. Jesus himself, confronted with adultery, said, "He who is without sin among you, let him be the first to cast a stone." This teaches us not to judge differently according to gender, but to seek justice with love and fairness. This story also reminds us that no one, not even spiritual figures, is above sin. The faithful must exercise discernment and vigilance. Examine all things, retain what is good. Don't forget to leave a comment to share your thoughts or experiences with us. Subscribe and activate the notification bell to receive our next videos. Thank you for following us, and remember, the truth will set you free. See you soon. Bye.